We are witnessing something extraordinary, something no Canadian Prime Minister has pulled off in years. Mark Carney has visited the United Arab Emirates, and instead of routine diplomacy, instead of a polite photo op or another meaningless foreign trip, the UAE's royal leadership rolled out a reception normally reserved for global heavyweights. Carney wasn't just welcomed, he was received like a man whose arrival matters to their economy, to their strategy, and to the shifting geopolitical map. And behind the scenes, away from the cameras, away from Ottawa's nervous bureaucrats and Trump's unpredictable outbursts, the Royals delivered a message that could change the trajectory of Canada's next decade. The UAE said, "Bring us the projects and we will bankroll them. And we will help you build the Canada that neither Donald Trump or any other American president can manipulate and control." It is no secret that the royals of the UAE have contacted Carney, and the visit would have been encouraged with a guarantee that Carney's time and all of the Canadian sentiments would be respected. Today, we break down what really happened in the UAE and why this moment could redefine Canada's power on the world stage.
CTV's News political commentator Scott Reid is joining me now with more on this. Good morning to you, Scott. So talk to us about Carney's pitch there in the UAE. What do you think he'll be saying?
Well, United Arab Emirates is the land of sovereign wealth funds. We're talking about trillions of dollars that they like to invest in big scale projects. So think energy, think infrastructure, think about the kinds of projects that Mark Carney has been championing since he became prime minister. So that's going to be his pitch. He's going to basically say, you've got lots of money. You want to put it into large scale projects. You have not found those in Canada before. You will find them now. Let's shake hands and get that money to our shores. That's going to be the pitch.
From the very first minute of Carney's arrival, it was obvious this trip was different. The UAE is not subtle when it wants to send a message. Their sovereign wealth funds control trillions, and when they see an opportunity, they move decisively. Carney's entrance was treated not like a ceremonial visit, but like the arrival of a partner they've been waiting for. The political world noticed immediately. Diplomats saw the body language. Analysts saw the investment signals. The Royals' message was unmistakable. Canada is welcome and Carney is respected, and the UAE is ready to talk business.
And I suspect he's going to find some receptive audiences there.
How significant could UAE investment be for Canada?
It very significant because the amount of wealth that exists there, and they are large investors, and they do like to invest in the kinds of projects that we're talking about.
Of course, we all know the UAE is the capital of sovereign wealth. They have handpicked the world's smartest minds to work for them. It is no secret that in the last few decades, they have sought to move away from dependency on oil and move away from just being a trading hub, and have worked to diversify their economy and investments. Their investment appetite is massive, but selective. For years, due to being controlled by America's foreign policy and narrative, Canada never gave the UAE anything worth backing. Timid Canadian governments were always looking at America for permission, shelving ideas, causing endless delays on progress for Canadians as the rest of the world made progress and continued to grow their economy. Carney is the first Prime Minister in a generation who arrived with something real, experience in policy making, fiscally responsible, as well as someone who is ethical and stands by his word. Carney has plans of large-scale infrastructure and energy projects that match the UAE investment style. And when Carney laid out Canada's new direction, a Canada willing to build pipelines, export infrastructure, strategic energy corridors, the UAE responded exactly as insiders predicted. Analysts have said that Carney's ideas were welcomed in the UAE, and insiders say Carney was told, "This is what we've been waiting for. Bring us more."
I mean, twin that with the other news we're hearing about today, the possibility that there will be a major pipeline, possibly some sort of memorandum of understanding with the federal government, British Columbia, Alberta. What if you get a major project that takes it to the North Shore of British Columbia? That's the kind of project that those sovereign wealth funds in the UAE would look at hungrily and say, well, we could put some investment capital behind that. So it could be very significant. And it diversifies our sources of income, and it diversifies our relationships around the world so that we're not just, again, so dependent on the United States, which, as we've come to see, is a little less reliable than we had once imagined.
Behind closed doors, the diplomatic tone sharpened into a more business-like style, which is very much needed when conducted the serious business of governance. After all, each party's key objectives need to be identified, red lines established, and general parameters for a formal agreement thrashed out. The UAE knows Canada is under unprecedented pressure from Donald Trump's America, which could wreak havoc on Canada's economy within a couple of years. Tariffs, trade threats, lack of respect, annexation comments, unpredictable behavior. And here on the other side, the UAE would like to build with Canada and be equal partners who treat one another with mutual respect and conduct trade in a win-win scenario. The US is no longer the reliable partner it once was. The royals understand geopolitics better than almost anyone on the planet. They can sense when a nation is on the cusp of breaking free. Their message to Carney was quiet but powerful. Let us help you build the mega projects that Washington expects you to fail at. Let us help you create an economic shield that Trump cannot penetrate. Canada's suffering serves no purpose for anyone and means the world is going backwards. For the UAE, supporting Carney is about strategic positioning. A stable Canada, strengthened by UAE capital, becomes a counterweight to US unpredictability. After all, if America can stab Canada in the back in such a callous way, what hope is there for any other country? This is not just about investment, this is geopolitical alignment. The biggest project discussed was a potential pipeline corridor extended to the northern coast of British Columbia. This is not a small project. This is a generational build, one that requires tens of billions and a stable financing partner, and the UAE's sovereign funds are laser focused on it. A project like this would transform Canada's export capacity. It would reduce dependence on US ports. It will also create thousands of jobs. It will shift Canada's strategic position in global energy markets, and it will permanently change Canada's negotiating power with Washington or anyone else. If Carney is able to bring it home and make good on his promises, then the figures from just a couple of trade deals would be astronomical. 70 billion has been quoted. This would become one of the largest foreign-backed infrastructure mega projects in Canadian history. And that could change into 100 billion over time, and then more so if they reach further agreements. This is the kind of partnership that rewrites a nation's future.
Yes, that could be an understatement. So this is a prime minister who has done a lot of international travel. How could this trip fit into Mark Carney's broader foreign policy plan?
I think this could be the meat in the sandwich that he's been looking for. A lot of these trips have been about establishing relationships, trying to indicate that there is a new and different government, that there is an ambition in Canada with the new government to build large-scale energy and infrastructure projects. I think we might see actual agreements signed in this case. I think you might see handshakes, more like what we saw in Malaysia, where a deal was concluded on trade. Here, I think you might see an investment pact signed. Maybe even there will be some details about specific projects. I don't know if it'll go that far, but I do think you're going to see more than just a happy handshake and a lot of smiles.
Carney's critics like to mock his travel schedule, but those trips had a purpose: rebuilding relationships that Canada neglected for decades. The UAE visit is the moment the strategy finally clicks. Carney is no longer laying foundations, he is cashing them in. He isn't searching for photo ops and going for the knees up. He's assembling a new economic architecture with some of the best people in the business. After all, if the UAE can achieve what they have done in the barren desert, then the mind boggles at what can be achieved in an already prosperous Canada. This architecture places Canada at the center of global investment networks that bypass American volatility. This trip marks a turning point where diplomacy becomes dollars. Insiders are hinting at something big. Carney has left the UAE with a signed investment pact and has signaled Canada is open for business. This would mean the UAE capital committed to Canadian infrastructure. This could mean a roadmap for joint energy and transit projects and a new financial pillar supporting Canada's growth. This is not normal diplomacy. This is a strategic partnership forming in real time. The UAE values pragmatism and hard results. They respect leaders who work quietly, negotiate strategically, and deliver. Carney fits perfectly into that world. He isn't preachy, he isn't moralizing, he isn't there to lecture, and unlike Trump, he doesn't want everyone to bend to his commands. He is there to do business, to do trade deals for Canada, for the people of Canada. And that's the kind of energy that the UAE responds to. This shift from Trudeau-era idealism, where Trudeau would talk the talk but wasn't able to deliver, to Carney-era hard, pragmatic win-win diplomacy, has opened doors that were previously locked. It's why the UAE and the wider world sees Carney as a long-term partner, not a symbolic visitor. Carney's trip is more than diplomacy, more than investment, more than a pipeline discussion. It is the beginning of an economic realignment. A realignment where Canada stops begging the US for predictable trade, which is way more favorable to America, where Donald Trump loses the ability to punish the Canadian people, where the UAE's wealth becomes the financial engine behind Canada's biggest national projects. This is how Carney changes the game. This is how Canada becomes resilient. This is how a middle power becomes a strategic power. This is how you beat Trump without ever confronting him directly. You're watching Modern Economics, independent, factual, and unapologetically on the side of Canada and democracy. Subscribe to stay informed as we cover the stories shaping Canada's place in the world. Drop your thoughts below. I read every single one. This isn't just a channel, it's a community. And together we're building a place where reason still matters, truth still counts, and democracy still has a voice. I'll see you in the next one.